Truce is like, I'm sleepy. Okay, good. Then we're gonna we're gonna start on our backs and construct a rest. So come down, take your time, step your feet out to a nice comfortable distance, let your knees drop in towards each other. And then to start, we're just going to bring hands to the belly. So we're just going to take a moment to tune into our breath. So if you can, get a nice wide spread of your fingers across your abdomen, just really span your fingers out. And then give a second to let everything else find its way. Let your tailbone get into a comfortable position, your shoulders get into a comfortable position. Check in with your toes and your feet, maybe give them a little wiggle, mush your toes around just to make sure that they're feeling soft and supple, and then just let them rest comfortably on the ground. And then once you feel like you've got everything in a fairly comfortable position, if it feels good to do so, maybe close your eyes down, or maybe just soften your gaze or stare at a point at your ceiling. And then see if you can just start to feel the rhythm of your breath. No need to force or change the breath, but just notice the movement of breath underneath your hands. So as you find that soft rhythm of breath, that nice rise and fall of your abdomen, now see if you can just keep that rhythm going, but tune into your contact points in the back of the body. So maybe you notice the back of your shoulders, the backs of your ribs, whatever parts of your low back are touching the ground, all the way down to that sacrum or that tailbone area. See if you can just kind of feel in and notice the connection points of your back against the floor. And now see if you can deepen the breath and notice those subtle changes of contact points as you take a nice deep breath in. And the subtle changes as you take a slow exhale. Notice your back connected to the floor. Take a nice full deep breath in. Notice the subtle changes as you breathe out. Take one more breath. Nice. And then we're going to keep our legs in constructive rest, but bring your hands down just so that they're off the belly and maybe a little bit long down alongside the body. And now we're going to tune into the solar plexus, but really we want to draw a line from the solar plexus to the back of the body where the bottom of your ribs are. Notice just the natural position that everything is in right now. And I'm going to move my outer arm just so you can get a visual, but see if you can push your ribs down into the earth. So the back and bottom of the ribs. See if you can push those ribs down into the earth. You might feel a little drawing in at the solar plexus area, and then just release. Exhale and push the back of your ribs down into the ground. It might be a small and subtle movement, but see if you can feel or get that sense, and then feel that connection at the solar plexus area, and then release. And then see if you can do that one more time. Back of the ribs, bottom of the ribs, push down into the earth, and then release. Nice. And now swim your arms up into cactus or goalpost arms. So elbows in line with the shoulders, nice 90-degree bend of the arms, backs of the hands resting on the floor, and then just take a couple of turns of your head side to side. And then notice here, so we're inviting some looseness into your neck, massaging out the back of the head, and creating a little space in the front of the chest and the shoulders. But now as you move here, and no need to change anything, but just notice, as you moved your arms up into this cactus and goalpost position, did you create a little flare in the ribs? Did the bottom of the ribs pick up away from the floor? Just notice if that happened, no right or wrong. Awesome. Take one more turn of your head side to side. And then as your head comes to center in a neutral position, keep your head in that neutral position and now see if you can just draw the bottom of the ribs back down to the ground. So arms are in that cactus position, head is in a neutral position, and then we're just going to pull the bottom of the ribs down. Wonderful. Hold that just for one more moment. And then when you're ready, release, soften your abdomen. And now we're going to walk the feet in. So feet are about hip width distance apart and hands are going to find those bony hip points. So find those front protruding hip bones. And we're going to move right into pelvic tilt. So start with just the normal, natural pelvic tilt that you always do. Exhale as you press the low back into the ground. Inhale and release to the natural curve of your back. Exhale as you press. Inhale as you release. Take about 3 more cycles of breath. Just find your rhythm here. Cool. Now we're going to exaggerate that just a little bit. So the next time you exhale, deeply press your low back into the ground, almost as if you're trying to curl your tailbone up or come up into a bridge a little bit. And then inhale. Rather than going to the natural curve of your back, exaggerate it just a little bit and arch your back. Don't hurt yourself, but just a little bit of action there. And then exhale, exaggerate it just a little bit. Push your low back into the ground like you're about to come up into a hip bridge. And then inhale, exaggerate the curve of your back and arch it just a little bit. And then do that one more time. Exaggerate it, press your low back into the ground. Inhale, exaggerate that arch in the back just a little bit. And then release and see if you can just let everything go for a second. Soften your hip points, soften your belly, soften your back, soften your ribs. Let everything be nice and soft. Take a nice big breath. Great. And now we're going to move back to the pelvic tilt. But now we're going to see, as we do that pelvic tilt, can you tilt the pelvis, pressing the low back into the ground, coming back to the natural curve of your back. But can you stop using your quadricep muscles and stop using your glutes? So if you feel like your quads are firing up a lot to make this movement happen, or you're squeezing your glutes to make that happen, you might find a smaller, more subtle movement. But now can you let most of the work happen like right at that center of the low belly area, right in front of, or right above that pubic bone. So see if you can find the work coming from there rather than from the glutes or from the quadriceps. No right or wrong if you don't find it. We're talking about some really subtle action here, but if you can find it, just take a few more pelvic tilts here. And then keeping your hands on those bony landmarks, those front hip protruding bones, get a sense of where the pubic bone is. And now we're going to see if we can line up the pubic bone and those front hip points. So we're going to imagine that our pelvis is a level with that little bubble in between. And now we want to line that bubble up. So our front hip points are going to line up level with that pubic bone. And then see if you, once you found that, stop there, hold that position. And then if you can, hold that position and now draw the backs of your ribs back down to the ground and see if your abdomen fires up, if all your core muscles get nice and strong there. No right or wrong if you don't find it, but just see if you can. It's really super subtle. So if you can't find it, we'll keep working on it. And then when you're ready, just let everything go for a second. Wiggle out your bum, wiggle out your ribs, shake everything out. And we're going to just see if we can do that one more time. So find your hip points, take a couple of tilts of the pelvis. See if you can allow the inner muscles to do the work rather than the quadricep muscles and the glute muscles. See if you can find those low, deep abdominal muscles helping make that movement happen. Notice the hip points. So you'll feel like the hip points are tilted down, and then you'll feel like they're a little bit elevated above that pubic bone, and then see if you can line them up. So it's in a nice level position. And once you've got that level position, hold it, pull the back bottom ribs down, firm up your abdomen. And then once you've got that position, we're going to keep and hold that position if you can. So you should feel your abdominal muscles fire up. And if you don't feel it, no worries, we'll keep working on it. But hold it the best you can. Hands are going to come down alongside the hips. And now we're going to keep all of that nice and firm. Pick the right knee up. Everything else is going to stay as stable as it can. And then lower that foot back down to the ground. Everything else is going to stay as stable as it can. Lift the left knee up. Everything else is going to stay as stable as it can. Lower the left foot down. Everything else stays stable. Come back to the right knee. Lift the right knee up. Everything else stays as stable as it can. Lower that foot back down. Awesome. Take it over to the left. Everything else stays stationary. Lift the left leg up. Everything stays stable, lower it down. One more time each side. Lift the right knee up. Everything else stays as stable as it can. Lower it back down. Lift the left knee up and lower it back down. Beautiful. Toe heel your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Soften your belly. Whew, soften your hips. If you were working there, if you were feeling it, it might feel a little fatigued at this point. Now take your arms out just to a wide position and take a couple of windshield wipers. Drop your knees a little side to side. Beautiful. The next time your knees drop over to the right, let them sink down. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. On your next inhale, lift those knees up to center and then drop them over to the left. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Awesome. Inhale, knees are going to lift back to center. Now we're going to toe heel the feet back in so they're about hip width distance apart, and then working just with the right leg. So left leg is going to stay as stable as it can. Right knee is going to drop out. So think a half of a Baddhakonasana or half Supabadakanasana. So the right knee drops out to the side and then pull it back up and in. Drop the right knee out to the side, pull it back up and in, and see if you can find those stabilizer muscles again to keep your center nice and firm. Drop the right knee out and pull it back in. And then when you're ready, we're going to switch to the other side. So set your right foot down onto the ground, get it nice and solid on the ground. And then when you're ready, take it over to the left. So left knee is going to drop out to the side and pull it back up and in. See if you can tune in, find that work coming from your center. Drop the left knee out to the side and pull it back in. We'll do that one more time. Drop the left knee out to the side and pull it back in. Awesome. And now we're going to move right into wind relieving pose. So right knee is going to pull into the chest. Left leg is going to go nice and long, but the heel is going to hover. Inhale and we switch. Exhale as you squeeze your knee in and compress that front hip flexor. Inhale to switch. Exhale to squeeze. Inhale, switch. Exhale, squeeze. Take about three or four more just to find a nice rhythm here. Move with your breath's rhythm. Nice. And then once you've completed both sides, pull both knees into the chest, a light little squeeze. And then we're going to lift the knees just slightly away from the chest so that we have a little bit of a handhold. So we're going to take our hands to the outsides of the knees. The knees are going to push out, hands are going to push in, and we're just going to get those hip stabilizer muscles kicking on. So push your knees into your hands. Hands are going to resist. You might feel your legs shake a little bit. Your arms are going to work here. Keep and hold that position, knees pushing out, hands pushing in. Hold it there if you can for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. And now we're going to crisscross the legs. See if you can reach around the outsides of the thighs and catch hold of the tops of the toes or the tops of the feet, whatever works good for you there. And then maybe see if you can find a little bit of a rock side to side. When I rock side to side, I have a little bit of a squeaky floor. It sounds like there's a cat underneath me. One more little rock side to side, and then we're going to rock and roll our way up to an easy seated position. So crisscross your legs, rock and roll up, catch a little momentum. And then as you come up to that easy seat, just give a second to get everything rearranged. So you feel like it's a nice, comfortable position. You have a nice tall spine. Right hand's going to touch down to the ground. Left hand's going to reach up. Take a nice, gentle side bend. Keep both sits bones anchored on the ground. One more breath. On your next inhale, lift up, and then as you exhale, take it right over to the other side. Beautiful. Lift back up, catch hold of your knees, a seated cat-cow here. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your chin, arch your back. Exhale, round your back, hang on to those knees and even curl the tailbone a bit so you can tuck chin into chest. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your chin, arch your back. Exhale and round. Beautiful. One more time here. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Awesome. Inhale to a neutral spine. Right ear is going to drop over to the shoulder. Take a nice big breath in. On your next inhale, head comes to center, and then exhale, drop your left ear to left shoulder. Take a nice deep breath in. Inhale, head comes up to a neutral position. And now we're going to lift ourselves on up, but we're going to come all the way down onto the belly. So lift yourself on up and then see if you can just come down in any way that works good to you to find your way into a Sphinx position. So elbows in line with the shoulders, hands in that parallel position. Spread your fingers nice and wide. And then we're going to take a second to kind of work down into the bottom half of the body. So once you've got your upper body in a good position, and you want to think about maybe pulling the solar plexus up towards the ribs, right? So there's a little bit of support in your center, and your shoulders are broad, and there's a nice bit of support in that upper body. And then keep that fairly stationary. Reach through your toes and see if you can lift the toes and tops of the feet away from the floor, almost to the point where your kneecaps lift off the floor. Notice how your low back's feeling here. And if you're feeling like there's any pinching or too much compression in the low back, for a second, relax your toes down, wiggle out your tush, and then draw your tailbone slightly towards your heels. Pull that solar plexus up just a little bit. So we create a little bit of strength in that low back area, and then come back to it. Reach through your toes, lift the tops of your feet so the kneecaps almost lift off of the ground. And then here we're going to stay. So we're going to pull the elbows energetically towards the ribs, get a little squeeze between the shoulder blades, a lot of strength going on through the back of the body, lots of strength in the glutes. Take one more breath. And then let those toes go, soften your butt, give it a little wiggle, walk your elbows out just so that you can lower your chest down. And now we're going to take it into tree frog pose. So we're going to slide the right leg up into a bent knee position. And for all of us, this might look a little different. So we all have varying external rotation in that hip. So just slide that knee up to a point that feels comfortable, and you can relax your butt muscles. So once you feel like you're there, let your forehead rest on your hands. We're going to take about 5 deep breaths here. So see if you can relax your glute muscles, relax your inner thigh. One more breath. Cool, and then just lift your forehead away from your hands, just so you have a little bit of space created, and slide that right leg back. Give your bum a little wiggle, make sure everything feels all right. And then we're gonna take it right to the other side. So left knee is gonna slide up so we get that bent knee position. And again, it's gonna look different, and don't even expect it to look the same on each side of your body. So we just want that external rotation, knee out to the side, just as far as feels right to you. And then invite that softness back in. Let your forehead rest against your hands. Relax your bum. Relax your belly, relax your inner thigh. Take one more breath. Beautiful. And then lift your head away from your hands. Slide that left leg back. We're going to keep a slight lift of the chest or a slight lift of your head, and then bend your knees and swish your heels just a little bit side to side. Let your butt and your low back just move in a way that feels natural. Awesome. One more little rock of those heels side to side, and then toes are going to float back down to the ground. So we're going to get that little bit of reach, but now we're going to bring our arms into a cactus position. So elbows out nice and wide. And here we're going to invite some strength into the back. So if it's comfortable to do so, start with your forehead on the ground, or just let your head find that fairly neutral position. I often lift my head and look up, mainly because I'm looking at the screen, but lower your forehead down just to a point you feel like a slightly neutral spine. And now we're going to think Cobra and lift using the muscles in the back of the body. So as you inhale, lift your arms away from the ground, lift your forehead away from the ground, use the strength in your back. Beautiful. And then as you exhale, lower down with control, hands touch down, forehead touches the floor. Inhale and lift up, use the strength in your back, arms lift, chest lifts, forehead lifts. Beautiful. Exhale and lower it down. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale and lift up, use the strength in your back. Beautiful. Exhale to lower down. Slide your hands in, push your way up into a tabletop position. Take one cat-cow. Inhale as you drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tail. Exhale to round your back. Inhale to a neutral position, curl your toes under, pull your butt back to your heels, stay here. So let there be a little bit of weight in your butt. Notice how your toes feel. Notice how the bottoms of your feet feel. Take one more breath. And then come up to tabletop position. We're going to release the left toes, but keep the right toes curled under. Slide that right foot back. Take a couple of gentle rocks forward and back just to create a little length in the back of the leg. Notice your calf. Cool. And now the next time your shoulders come in line with your wrists, stay here. And we're going to flex that right foot. So toes are going to lift away from the floor. And then we're just going to do a little bit of work in the glutes. So lift the leg and then lower it down. Take a couple times just up and down with control. So the shoulders stay stable. The belly stays firm. There's not a lot of wobbling all around. Awesome. And now the next time it lifts, stay there with that light flex in the foot. We're going to externally rotate the toes. So just turn the toes out and then turn the toes down. Everything else is going to stay as stable as it can. Turn the toes out, turn the toes down, turn the toes out, turn the toes down. Beautiful. Drop that knee down into your tabletop position with a little bit of control. Left toes curl under, slide that foot back, take a couple of rocks forward and back. The next time your shoulders come in line with your wrists, stay there. Take a couple of lifts and lowers of that leg where everything else stays stable. So the back stays steady, shoulders are steady. Most of that work is coming right out of the glutes. Beautiful. And now the next time it lifts up, hold it there with that light flex in the foot. Turn the toes out and turn the toes down. Everything else is staying as stable as it can. Turn the toes out, turn the toes down. Beautiful. One more time. Turn the toes out. Nice. Turn the toes down, release that leg down, big toes together, knees together. Pull your butt back towards your heels into your child's pose. A little reach through the arms. And then if you need, just think of that picking up and over of the belly to create a little space and then soften back into that nice position. Soften through the back of your body. Take a nice deep breath in. Nice slow breath out. Take one more moment here. And then on your next inhale, lift up, walk those knees back out so they're just in line with the hips and then move right into a puppy pose. So we're going to keep our hips in line with the knees. Walk your hands towards the top edge of your mat. Let your chest and your forehead melt down. Take 3 nice big breaths here. Wonderful. On your next inhale, start to walk it back up to the tabletop position. So wrists are fairly in line with the shoulders. And now we're going to see if we can find that stability again in our center. So think about just finding that fairly neutral pelvis or what felt like a neutral pelvis to you. Pull the abdominal muscles up slightly. Imagine that you're just drawing the backs of the ribs up towards the ceiling, just so you can find that sensation again. And then once you've found that sensation, hold that firmness in your center. Right hand's going to reach up. Everything else is going to stay as stable as it can. Right hand's going to reach up, touch the back of your head, and then release that hand back down. Everything else stays as stable as it can. Left hand reaches up, touch the back of your head. Everything else stays as stable as it can. Release that hand back down. Back to your right hand. Reach up, touch the back of your head, and release that hand down. Beautiful. Left hand reaches up, touch the back of your head, and release that hand back down. Awesome. One more time each side. Right hand reaches up, touch the back of your head, and release that hand down. Nice. Take it to the left, reach up, touch the back of your head. Beautiful. And release that hand down. Curl both sets of toes under, lift the knees, hover your table. So now we're going to find that big strength in our center. Broaden your shoulders just a little bit. Imagine you're pushing the floor away from you. Take one more breath. And now we're going to keep the knees lifted. Pull your butt back towards your heels and then lift up into your downward facing dog without letting those knees touch down to the ground. In your downward facing dog, take a second to look at your hands, spread your fingers nice and wide, and then take a second to look down at your feet. So toes and knees are pointing forward. So if your heels are sickled out, just arrange your heels so that they're in line with the toes. And then once you've got your way here, bend your knees a lot, bring your weight back into your heels a little bit. So push back into your butt, let your heart drop down just a little bit more. Take one good breath. And then we're going to keep our heart where it is. Press your heels down towards the ground and then lift the heels back up. Press your heels down towards the ground and then lift back up. Do that one more time. Press your heels down towards the ground. Soften your knees, and now we're going to pivot the heels over to the right. So if you need to do anything to rearrange your hands, take a second to do it. But now pivot your heels over to the right. Push your heels down into the earth. Take a nice big breath. Notice the left side of your body. Awesome. Pick up your heels, pivot them all the way over to the left side of your mat. Push your heels down. Notice the right side of your body. Take a nice big breath. Beautiful. Pivot your heels back to center, soften your knees, look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to a nice ragdoll at the top of your mat. So feet about hip or shoulder distance apart, plenty of space for the belly and the chest, and then just let everything hang nice and heavy here. Arms nice and heavy, head nice and heavy. Take a moment here to tune back into your breath. Maybe notice that buoyant lift that happens with the inhalation and that softness that happens with the exhalation. Take one more breath here. And then with a super generous bend in the knees, firm up your belly. Think about pulling your abdomen toward your spine and then start to roll up nice and slow and controlled. Take your time as you come up. And then as you come up to standing, just notice that little bit of whoosh that happens sometimes as we come back up. Allow it to happen and then give everything a little wiggle. Fix your clothes, fix your hair, get yourself situated at the top of your mat, and then we'll find our mountain pose. We're going to focus with the toes and the feet to start. So start by lifting your toes. You can even look down at your feet, lift your toes and spread your toes as wide as you can. And then notice the blade edges of your feet. So you might think big toes in towards each other, space between the heels, blade edges lined up with the outer edges of your mat. And then even with those toes lifted and spread, hug your heels in towards each other. So you feel that little bit of a wrapping up through the back of the body, a little bit of lift up through the front of the body. And once you feel like you found that lifting upward sensation, soften your toes down. Let your hands come down at your sides. A little reach through the fingers, palms facing forward or palms facing in, just whatever feels more comfortable to you. Gaze forward or close your eyes and just take a nice deep breath in. Notice this nice solid strength in your body as you find this firm mountain pose. Take one more breath. Tune back into your feet. As you inhale, just lift your heels away from the ground. Exhale, lower your heels back down. Doesn't matter how high you go, just try to maintain a little bit of control so the heels don't wobble in or out. Inhale, lift your heels away from the floor. Exhale, lower your heels down. Do that one more time. Inhale, lift your heels away from the floor. Exhale to lower down. Nice. And now we're going to take it into what in Kripalu method we call half moon pose, but it's really just a side bend. But we're going to interlace the fingers, get our little Charlie's Angel Mudra. We're going to bring that up and overhead. And we're going to start with some small side bends. We're just going to start by gently tipping side to side. As you gently tip side to side, so you're not going to your full edge, but you're starting to just create a little space through the side of the body. Notice your feet connected to the floor. As you tip side to side, can you keep an even amount of weight between both feet? And then once you feel like you've got that good solid foundation down at your feet, now see if you can tip those side bends a little bit further, just going to a point that feels comfortable to you, but you're in control of. Awesome. The next time you come over to the right, think about pushing your hip over to the left, find that side bend over to the right. So get really into it, as deep as your body will allow without that top shoulder rounding forward. A little bit of extra reach through the fingertips. Take a nice big breath. With control, come back up to center, reset anything that you need to, but then we're going to take it over to the other side. So think about pushing the hip over to the right, lean out to the left just as far as your body allows without that top shoulder rounding, and then notice your breath. Beautiful. Bring it back to center with control. Unlace your fingers, float your hands down, come back to your mountain pose, but just for a second, tune in. Take a nice deep breath in and notice the breath in the side of your body. Nice. And then when you're ready, eyes open. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees, hinge from your waist, fold down to the ground. Inhale to a half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. One more time. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up, but grab that beach ball above your head. Exhale, sink into a chair. So weight into the heels and the balls of the feet. You should be able to lift your toes so the center of your feet are nice and square on the ground. And then if you lifted your toes, go ahead and set them down. Sink your butt just a little bit deeper. And then when you're ready, inhale, press into your feet, lift up. As you exhale, cactus your arms, open your chest, look to the sky. Inhale, reach up, grab that beach ball. Exhale, sink into your chair. Beautiful. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, cactus your arms, open your chest. Inhale, reach up, grab that ball. Exhale, sink into your chair, hang out here. We're going to bring the prayer hands together to the heart center, and then we're going to take left elbow, tap across towards your right thigh, bring it back to center, over to the other side. Right elbow is going to tap across that left thigh, bring it back to center, stay in your seat. Left elbow over to the right. Inhale and bring it back to center. Right elbow over to the left. Inhale, bring it back to center. One more time each side. Exhale as you twist. Inhale to center. Exhale to twist. Inhale to center. Release your arms back into that chair position. And then from here, we're going to take it into a fold. So lift your butt. Hands are going to come down to the ground. Inhale to a half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Step both feet back to downward facing dog. Pick up your heels, lower your knees through tabletop, big toes together, knees to the outer edges of your mat into extended child's pose. So step your feet to a width or knees to a width that feels good to you. Pull your butt back to your heels and then snuggle in here. Let your butt get nice and heavy, belly and chest sink down. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, lift your butt back away from your heels. Curl your toes under. Exhale up to a downward facing dog. Maybe take a pedal or two of the legs. Cool. And then when you're ready, look forward. Walk your feet up to meet your hands. Come to a forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center. Hands down at your sides. And if you only have a half an hour of time, this might be a great place to go into your own version of Shavasana. But if you're sticking around, we're going to pick up the pace just a little bit. So find your mountain pose at the top of your mat. Come back to your breath. Take a nice big inhale. Nice slow exhale. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale and fold. Knees bent or straight, just whatever feels good to the backs of your legs and your low back. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Step the right leg back, runner's lunge. We're going to keep the knee lifted, heel lifted, heart forward, look forward. Take a breath. Plant your palms. Step right back to plank. From here, bring your knees down. Rotate the eyes of your elbows. Hug your elbows into your ribs. Lower with control onto your belly. One low cobra here. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale, lower down. Push your way into a tabletop position. Curl your toes under. On your next exhale, take it up to downward facing dog. Right leg is going to come up into three-legged dog, but we're going to keep our shoulders level. Keep your hips fairly level, so you might not get as much height, and that right knee and that right toe are pointing down towards the ground. Beautiful. Lower that foot down, switch to the other side, but everything else stays as stable as it can. Left leg lifts. Beautiful. Release that foot down. Bend both knees just a little bit. Look forward. Walk your feet up to meet your hands. Come to forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center. Hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale and fold, knees bent or straight, just whatever feels better. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, soften down, left leg back, runner's lunge. So we keep the heel lifted, the knee lifted, heart forward, look forward, take a breath. Beautiful, plant the palms, step back to plank, and then right away, bring the knees down, rotate the eyes of your elbows, hug your elbows into your ribs, lower with control onto your belly. Inhale up for one low cobra. Exhale to lower down, push your way up into tabletop position, curl the toes under, exhale up to down dog. Left leg is gonna come up into that three-legged dog. Shoulders are stable, hips are square. That left leg, toe, and knee are pointing towards the ground, so it might vary what height you are able to get. Take one more breath. Set that foot down, take it over to the other side. Right leg is gonna lift up, shoulders stay stable, hips stay square. Beautiful, and then release that foot down with control. Soften your knees, look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center. Hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, soften down, step the right leg back, runner's lunge, but now we're gonna play around with just a little bit of strength. So if you have some stability, lift your hands away from the floor, reach them behind you like a little bit of an airplane reach, and then lift your chest away from the thigh, and then lower your chest towards your thigh. Keep that strength in your legs. Lift your chest away from your thigh and lower it back down. Beautiful, one more time, just like that. Lift up, find that strength in your legs in the back. Awesome. Lower your hands down, frame that front foot, and we're gonna take 3 bends and straightens of that front leg. Just go to a point that feels good to you. Nice, and then the next time you bend that front knee, plant your palms, step back to plank, lower your knees, rotate the eyes of your elbows, hug elbows to ribs, lower with control. Inhale up to cobra just as high as you like. Exhale, take it through table or up to downward facing dog, whichever variation you like. Right leg is now gonna come up into three-legged dog. We're gonna bend the knee and let the hip roll open if that feels good. Beautiful, step that right foot up to the top right corner of your mat. So a nice wide lunge here. Let your hips sink down, let your heart come forward, take a nice big breath. Beautiful, now we're gonna lift the hips slightly, turn the right toes out just to make a little space, and then we're gonna hop that back foot up to the top left corner of our mat. So a nice wide position, take a couple little froggy rocks. So just let your hips kind of drop side to side, let your knees bend a little bit. One more little froggy rock side to side, and then as your butt comes back to center with soft knees, toe heel your feet so they're about hip width distance apart. Bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll up to standing, roll your shoulders down and back, find your mountain pose. Beautiful, inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, left leg back, find that runner's lunge. So the knee is lifted, heel is lifted. Find your position first. Maybe let your hips sink, let your chest lift, take a breath. And then lift the hips slightly, lift your hands away from the floor, find that stability. And then if you can, airplane the arms. And now we're gonna find some strength here. Lift your belly away from the thighs and then lower it back down. Beautiful, lift your belly away from your thigh and then lower it back down. One more time here, lift your belly away, lower it back down, hands frame that front foot, and then we'll take 3 bends and straightens of that front leg. Just go to a depth that feels good to you. Nice, and then the next time you bend that front knee, plant your palms, step back to a plank, right away, lower your knees, rotate the eyes of your elbows, hug your elbows into your ribs, lower with control. Inhale up to cobra just as high as you like. Exhale to table or up to down dog, whichever position you like. Left leg is gonna come up into that 3-legged dog. Bend the knee, let the hip roll open, take a breath. And then step that left foot up to the top left corner of the mat. So a nice wide position. Beautiful. Once you've got your way there, take a moment to make some space. Turn the left toes out. And now we're going to hop that right foot up to the top right corner of our mat. So legs nice and wide to the outer edges of your mat, and come back to that froggy rock. Just keeping some nice generous bend in the knees. Rock your hips a little side to side. Beautiful. And then with soft knees, toe heel your feet back into a hip width distance apart. Bend your knees a lot. Pull your abdominal muscles in. Roll up to a standing position. And then from here, we're going to get our little funky grip. So we're going to wrap the hands around. I'm just going to move close just so you know what I'm saying. Funky grip, so we can just hold on to those hands. Get your little funky grip, and then bring your arms up and overhead. Solid in your feet. Hips are going to stay nice and solid. Hip points facing forward. And we're going to try to maintain that solid position with the hips and the legs, and just start to draw some circles. So we want most of the movement coming out of the upper body and the ribs. One more circle around, and then take those circles and go the other way. Beautiful. One more circle around, and then release your funky grip. Grab that imaginary beach ball above your head. Exhale, sink into a chair. Take one good inhale. As you exhale, fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Step the right leg back, runner's lunge. Heart forward, look forward, take a breath. Plant the palms, step back, downward facing dog. Bring yourself forward into a plank position, and then lower in any way that you like. Bring the knees down or lower in chaturanga if that's in your practice. Inhale up to a cobra just as high as you like. Exhale back up to that downward facing dog. Beautiful. We're going to bring it back forward into that plank position. So bring your shoulders back in line. And then again, lower down in any way that works good for you. Knees down or lower in chaturanga. Inhale up to cobra just as high as you like. Exhale up to that downward facing dog. Nicely done. Pick up your heels, lower your knees, come to tabletop position. And now we're going to take it into our cow face prep pose. So right leg is going to just reach out nice and long. Take your left toes, swing them over to the right side of your mat. Tuck your right knee behind your left knee. So we get the knees tucked, toes pointing in opposite directions. And once you're here, pull your butt back towards your heels. Inhale, come forward. As you exhale, you're going to pull your butt back to your heels and turn your head to the right. Inhale, come forward, head comes to neutral position. Exhale, pull your butt back to your heels and turn your head to the left. Inhale, come forward, head comes to neutral, and then unwind your legs. Take a second, bop your hips a little bit side to side, just to kind of soothe anything out you may have come across. And then we're going to take that to the other side. So left leg is going to extend out from the hip. Swing your right toes over to the left side of your mat. Tuck that left knee behind the right knee. So knees are stacked and toes are pointing in opposite direction. Once you've got yourself here, pull your butt back towards your heels and then come forward. Next time you pull your butt back to your heels, turn your head to the left. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, turn your head to the right as you pull your butt back to your heels. Beautiful. Inhale, come forward, and then unwind those legs. Bop your hips a little bit side to side. Beautiful. One more little bop of those hips side to side. And then we're just going to swing the legs out to one side so we can spin it around, sit onto our butt, but we're going to use our right leg. So access to the right knee, access to the right heel, a little external rotation. And then we're just going to rock that leg a little bit side to side. Nice. And then we're going to just set that right leg across the left in no particular position, but we want to have access to is the big toe. So we're going to take our little pincher fingers, get a nice firm grab of that big toe, and then we're going to pull the toe gently. So like you're trying to give a little tug, like you're pulling the toe out of the toe joint, but be mindful, be gentle, just a light little tug, gently pulling the toe away from the heel. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Now grab the second toe, a little pinch and grab, pull the toe gently, just like you're pulling the toe long away from the heel. Take a nice big breath. And then release, grab your third toe, a little pinch and pull. You might have to rearrange your hand as you get down to those smaller toes, but give a little pinch and pull. And then release, grab that fourth toe, give a little pinch and pull. And then release, grab your pinky toe, give a little pinch and pull. And then release. And now we're going to take our hands like a dish towel and just wring out the foot. So you're going to just kind of twist and turn up towards the ankle and then twist and turn down toward your toes. Beautiful. One more little twist and turn of that foot. Brush off your hands. And now we're going to lift that leg so it comes a little closer to the chest. So kind of hug it in as tight as you can, and then see if you can arrange your hand grip so that your left hand is going to hold onto that leg and keep it up and support it. So rearrange anything that you need to so you get a single hand hold. And now right hand's going to come out to the side, and we're going to start to lean over to the right and then rock around. You might notice some places that are a little tender. So just be mindful. You stay adjacent to those tender spots, move around, see if you can work some things out, and then move on to a new place. Wonderful. Take one more little rock around. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully release that right leg long. And then with just legs long, soft knees, sit up nice and tall, close your eyes down, take a nice deep breath in. Notice your right foot compared to your left. Great. And then when you're ready, open your eyes, pick up your left knee, pick up your heel, externally rotate it, rock it a little side to side. Awesome. And then bring that leg across just so you have access to the big toe. Make your little pinch finger, grab that big toe and pull like you're pulling the toe away from your heel. And then release, grab that second toe, little pinch and pull the toe away from the heel. And then release, grab that third toe, give a little pinch and pull. And release, grab that fourth toe, a little pinch and pull. And release, grab the pinky toe, a little pinch and pull. And release, nice. And now do that little dish towel ring. So we're just twisting and turning up towards the toes and down towards the ankle. Beautiful. One more little twist and turn, and then brush off your feet, lift that left leg up towards your chest, get it as high up as you feel comfortable with, and then see if you can take that right arm and find a good handhold. So it's a single handhold, so the left hand is free to move out to the side. Once you've got your handhold, keep that leg lifted and then rock over onto that left hip and roll around. Find any bit of movement here that feels good to you. Beautiful. Take one more little rock around. And then as you come back up to center with a little bit of control, release that left leg nice and long. Pause with the legs long, soft feet, soft legs, nice upright spine. Close your eyes down, take a nice deep breath in. Notice the bottoms of your feet. Nice slow breath out. Awesome. And then we're going to step the feet in so we can take one reverse table here. So hands alongside the hips, fingers may be pointing towards the butt. You might rearrange if you know that your hand's like a little bit of an external rotation, but now push into your feet, push into your hands, lift your butt up just as high as feels comfortable to you. So make sure your shoulders feel stable. Does not matter how high you go, but we want to just feel that strength in the upper body. Take one more moment. And then when you're ready, with control, lower your butt back down to the ground. We're going to curl the tailbone under, release your hands from the ground, and then with control, slow and steady, lower your weight all the way down to the ground. Beautiful. Once you've found your way here, walk your feet in a little bit closer to your butt. So feet about hip width distance apart, heels nice and close to the butt. Hands are going to locate those bony hip points, those front protruding hip bones, move back into your pelvic tilt. Exhale, press your low back down. Inhale and release. Exhale, press your low back down. Inhale to release. Exhale to press. Inhale to release. And now see if you can make most of that work happen without using the quadricep muscles and without using the glutes. So can you find those internal low belly muscles and find a pelvic tilt here? So it might not be as big of a movement, but you might find a lot of stuff happening to engage those core muscles. Awesome. And then with those hands on those bony landmarks, now we're going to find that level again. So we're going to line the bony hip points up with that pubic bone so it's a nice level position. Pull the backs of the ribs down onto the ground. Feel your center fire up. Release your hands from your hip points. So hands are going to come down onto the ground. And now keeping everything else as stable as you can, lift your right leg up. And then the left leg is going to come up to meet. So all that stability, holding those legs in that position, a little reach through the toes, maybe focus on that back of the bottom ribs pressing down into the earth. Take one more moment here. And then with control, release your feet back down to the ground, soften your abdomen. And now we're going to lift up into a hip bridge. So with those hands alongside the hips, push into the feet, lift your hips up just as high as feels comfortable. And then give a second, see if you can rearrange your shoulder blades so that your shoulders feel a little snuggled in. And now see if you can find a little action, a little squeeze in the glutes, a little action in the backs of the thighs, and knees are reaching towards the toes. So we feel a little length through the front of the hips, strength in the back, length through the front. Take one more moment here. See if you can notice all that work. And then when you're ready with control, slowly lower yourself back down to the ground. We're going to move right into supine twist from here. So right knee is going to pull into the chest. Left leg is going to go nice and long. And then we're going to do 3 times and then get there and stay. So take that right knee over and across the body and then pull it back into center. Take the knee over and across the body and take it back to center. Take it over and across the body. Take it back to center and now take it as far as you like. Take the knee over and across, find your spinal twist. Right hand is going to reach out. And then if it feels good to your head and your neck, turn your head to the right. Take one more breath. We're going to pull that right knee into the chest, but switch your hand hold. So now hold on to the right knee with the right hand, swing it out nice and wide towards the right shoulder. So we're opening the hip up just a little bit. Circle your foot in one direction. And then circle your foot the other way. Beautiful. Pull that right knee back into the chest. Now we're going to switch to the other side. So left knee is going to come into meet. Hold on to your left knee. Let your right leg go nice and long. 3 times across, and then we hold it for the 4th one. So take that left knee over and across just a little bit. Pull it back up to center. Take the left knee over and across and pull it back to center. Take the knee over and across. Pull it back to center, and this time go to your edge or to the depth that feels good to you. Take the knee over and across the body into your spinal twist. Left hand opens wide. Maybe your head turns to the left. And then once you're here, come back to your breath. Take a nice, generous inhale. Slow but natural exhale. One more breath. On your next inhale, pull that left knee back to center, and then we're going to switch hands. So we're going to pass that knee over into the left hand so we can swing it out nice and wide. So wide and towards the left shoulder. And then once you're there, circle your left foot, go in one direction. Beautiful. Circle your left foot and go the other way. Nice. And then pull that left knee back into the chest. Right knee is going to come into meet. So we're going to get both knees hugged in, just a light little squeeze, compress those hip flexors, and then release your grip, hands to the outsides of the knees, pushing the knees out, pushing the hands in. Find that resistance again. So we're just going to call on those hip stabilizer muscles to kick back on. Knees are pushing out, hands are pushing in. Hold that resistance for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Right leg is going to go up, left foot's going to touch down. So a little single leg up the wall, and then give that right leg a good gentle shake. Beautiful. When you're ready, set that foot down, switch to the other side. Right foot touches down, left leg reaches up, and then start to find that gentle shake. Beautiful. Left foot's going to touch down, right hand is going to reach up to the sky, and then give your right hand a good shake. Right hand lowers down, left hand reaches up, and give your left hand a good shake. Beautiful. Left hand is going to touch down, and then just pause for a moment in that stillness. Notice how your body feels, and then ask yourself where would be your best Shavasana. Would it feel good to bring a little bit of extra support to the low back? Maybe come back to a constructive rest so your low back and your hip flexors have some time to chill out. Maybe you need a little more action for the hips to take it into your Superbadakanasana or reclined cobbler's pose, knees out to the left and to the right. Or maybe you prefer that more traditional shape, walk your feet long. If you walk your feet long and you still need a little extra support for your low back, you can roll up a blanket or place some pillows underneath your knees so you maintain a bent knee position. So that might feel nice as a sort of in-between space. Any variation with the body that feels restful, take a second to find your way there. And then once you feel like you've got yourself set up in a way that feels nice, give a second to work those little wiggles out. Wiggle out your toes, your fingers, your shoulder heads, your bum, your back, your belly. Make sure everything feels like it's nice and solid on the ground. And then invite some softness in. A little softness in your breath. A little softness in your thoughts. So maybe at this point, you just allow some thoughts to pass in and out without any judgment, not trying to hold on to anything here. Start to bring your awareness back into your body. Start by just becoming aware of the floor beneath you. Notice that solidness. And then if it feels good to do so, just gently rock your head side to side. And then as you find that nice gentle rhythm of your head rocking side to side, maybe invite some movement into your fingers, into your toes. If your legs are bent, maybe you walk them long to the end of your mat and then take a little windshield wiper action with those toes. So we bring a little movement into the thigh bones, a little bit of movement up into that hip socket. And then if it feels good to do so, take it into a big good morning stretch like a yawn. Reach through your fingers, reach through your toes, arms stretch up and overhead. Take a nice big giant breath back into your body. Beautiful. And then in your own way and at your own pace, start to find your way up to a comfortable seated position. So you might choose to rock and roll up or roll to one side. And then maybe you'll come up to Sukhasana with legs crossed, or any other seat that allows you to sit up nice and tall. And then we just want a little access to the sides of the body. So whatever seat you choose, just see if you can get a little bit of a handhold. We're going to do that brush down the sides of the body. So hands are going to come as close to the armpits as you can. And with a little bit of a firm press, push down with a little bit of vigor, come back up to the armpits, push down the side of the body, and then do that one more time. Push down the sides of the body, nice. And then bring your hands to your belly, give your belly a gentle rub, go in one direction. Give your belly a gentle rub, go the other way. Awesome. And then we're going to take those hands, stack them right on top of the heart, but put a little gentle pressure on, trapping that skin and connective tissue. Draw a couple of circles in one direction. Maybe start to close your eyes down here. Keep that gentle pressure on, but draw those circles, go the other way. Awesome. And then let your hands come to a stillness, hands resting on the heart. Bow your head to your heart. Take a nice, generous inhale. Breathing in love and gratitude for yourself, for your mind, for your body, and for all of your hard work. And breathe in a little extra love and gratitude that you can carry with you through the rest of your day and share with everyone you see. And then when you feel ready, gently lift up through the top of your head, gently open your eyes. I bow to you. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday.